Thank you for joining me on another episode of She Leads Now podcast, where we help career and entrepreneurial women gain the tools to develop a success mindset, create winning strategies, build collaborative relationships, and take bold action towards creating impact and fulfillment in their lives and careers. I'm your host, Sabine Gideon, and I'm on a mission to awaken and activate women and emerging leaders so they can tap into their innate leadership ability, elevate their influence, and create the impact they were destined to make. If you're ready to uplevel your confidence, courage, and influence, you've come to the right place. Join me weekly for insights, strategies, and resources to help you grow, develop, and embody the leader you were meant to be, so that you can make the impact you know you are called to make and establish the legacy you've always dreamed. The world eagerly awaits the emergence of your brilliance, impact, and influence. So with that, let's dive into this week's episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of She Leads Now. I'm your host, Sabine Gideon, and I am here bringing you a quick solo episode this week as a bonus to the normal Wednesday release. So if you are checking in and tuning into this episode for the very first time or tuning into the show for the very first time, welcome. Excited to have you listening in today. And for those of you who have been listening for a while, welcome back. I appreciate you giving me some time in your earbuds this week. So for those who are new, in addition to being the host of this show, She Leads Now, I serve in the capacity as an executive career and leadership development strategist. I'm also the author of several books, the most recent being Lead Her Ship Reloaded, Reimagining, Redefining, and Rehumanizing Leadership, which is available on Amazon. So please feel free to check that out. And in addition to that, I speak, I coach, and I do quite a few other things. So as I mentioned, today's episode is a solo episode, and I just wanted to share a thought with you that I had recently and give you something to noodle on this week or the coming weeks, as you know, many of us are looking to wind down. I can't believe I'm saying this, but looking to wind down the year as of this time of recording. We're in basically November of 2023 and also looking ahead for 2024. In a few weeks, I'll do an episode that is focused on supporting you in identifying your word for the year. I have a specific exercise and list of questions that I go through each year to help me tap into or tune into my North Star for the year. So in a few weeks, I won't do that now. It feels way too soon. I will share that exercise with you so that if you are the word of the year type person or phrase of the year, whatever that looks like for you, then you can have the framework that I use to come to that. So hopefully today's episode is as short as I think it's going to be in my head. But I wanted to share with you real quick. I was on an episode of one of my colleagues, business colleagues, if you will, not too long ago. And I had been on her podcast before, and I've listened to her shows, and I've certainly sent people in my network her way to be on her show. And she has a question that she asks at the end, similar to what I do with the Blitz sessions, with the book and your advice to younger self and so on. She has a question that she asks her guests, you know, if your life were a movie title, what would that movie title be? Now, granted, I've been on her show before. I had a title at the time. I can't even tell you what it was, but it was probably a lot more reflective of where I was in life during that time. And this time around, I thought about it, you know, beforehand and assessed where I was at the time that we were doing the recording. And when she asked me, my response was, she came, she saw, and she conquered. And the reason for that particular title is, as you've been listening, or if you've been listening to the series, the Mindset, Mindfulness, and Manifestation, you know that I shared with you some of the behind the scenes growth and transition and transformation I had experienced or had been experiencing and probably still experiencing to some extent. And I shared many of the lessons that I learned, much of the healing that I had to do, the deprogramming, the reprogramming, repositioning, just my mindset, my life, my business, what my priorities were. And so by the time we recorded that episode, like I felt like I had conquered. I felt like I had gone to the darkness of my soul, uncovered every rock, every hidden thing, and overcame, what were periods of darkness that were all part of the growth process. But nonetheless, I was feeling victorious when I recorded that episode. But not too long ago, it came back to my memory, and I thought about it, outside of that time and space experience that I had, or in the space that I was answering that question. If I really took a step back and looked at my entire life and my journey, and if I had to give that answer from a more holistic perspective versus that time and space, what might that be? And I was playing around with some titles, and this is a really really long title that probably wouldn't make it as a blockbuster hit, but I feel like it encompasses so much of who I am, who I've been, and who I want to be moving forward, that I think that if I had a do-over on her show and could respond to this is what I would say. I would say she found herself and she shared herself, including her gifts and talents, with as many people as she could reach. That to me is the full encompassing description of what I believe my purpose is, or all of our purposes, really. But I'll just speak for myself. Is really about finding yourself, answering that question, who are you, that you've heard me talk about so many times, and then from there deciding how you want to share who you are with others. And so that's what I've identified as my movie title. Nonetheless, I wanted to share that with you. Again, as we're closing out the year, as people are making plans for the new year and new things that they want to experience, areas that they want to grow in, areas that they want to develop. I think so often, especially for us who are ambitious and who are driven, we're always looking ahead. We're always looking at what can we accomplish next? What's the next achievement? And that's not a bad thing at all. I am here for that. But I also think that there is power in taking a moment to reflect, to appreciate, and to look at our lives holistically, because I think that gives us if we're not on firm standing with who we are or what we want or what we're creating in life, it gives us an opportunity to reflect and assess where we might need to make some changes. But if we're feeling, grounded, I feel like it adds another layer of strength and affirmation that where we are today is exactly where we're supposed to be, and that while we may not be able to see the full staircase, so to speak, or the entire path, that we're going to be okay because we've uncovered what we needed to. So again, this is meant to be a short episode. I challenge you or invite you to give it some thought. If your life, right, holistically, from today, whatever day it is that you're listening to it, were a movie title, what would that movie title be? And then the second layer to that is, are you living that movie title? And it can be aspirational, that's completely fine too. But if you're not living that movie title, what needs to change? What do you need to upgrade? What do you need to up level? What do you need to shift? What do you need to shed so that you can live out that movie title? And again, it's based on where you are, where you have been, and a little bit of aspirational where you hope to be, but focus it more on present and past and a slight little bit of future. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully, this was helpful. I would love to hear or have you share with me either via email or through social what your movie title is and what you would like it to be. If you wouldn't mind, or if you'd be open to it, feel free to send me an email at support@sabinegideon.com. I would love to see that. Or if you decide to do a social post, please be sure to tag me. Let me know. Not that it's an assignment or anything, but I'd love to engage and come into agreement with you around your story, your title, if you will, your movie title of your life. And just a couple of real quick announcements for those of you who are tuning in. So if you have not yet subscribed to the show or left a rating, I invite you to do so on Apple. And I believe you can do so on Spotify now. But Apple is the one that I get the most notifications from. So thank you in advance for your listenership and your feedback on the show. Again, if there are topics or if there are areas that you want to see covered, you can always send me those suggestions and recommendations at support@sabinegideon.com. As I mentioned, Lead Hership Reloaded is available on Amazon. Feel free to go grab your copy, leave a rating, leave a review if you so choose. And then lastly, I have just a few more coaching spots available for one-on-one coaching. I'm winding down, or I guess winding down some, and then opening slots for 2024. So if you are a leader who is in transition, and that transition can be a professional transition, it can be a life transition, and you are looking for some support, guidance, but more importantly, strategy on how to move forward, I would be honored to assist you. And you can reach out to me directly. Again, via email, support@sabinegideon.com. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn or on Instagram, and I would be happy to schedule some time for us to have a conversation and see if it makes sense for us to work together and partner together in that capacity. So thank you for tuning in. Again, your assignment or your invitation is to ask yourself, what would the title of your life be? And then this part B and C, is that what you're living today? Is that what you want to live? And where do you have some opportunity to make some changes? So with that, I will leave you. So be sure to tune in to our full interview and next conversation with another female powerhouse. Have a wonderful rest of the day and talk soon. Take care. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of She Leads Now. If you found today's episode helpful or got a piece of insight that you plan to implement in your business or organization, I would love to hear from you. Connect with me on LinkedIn at Sabine Gideon, that's my handle, and send me a private message. Or feel free to go ahead and leave a review on either Apple or Spotify. I also invite you to share this episode with anyone in your network who you think might benefit from this content. Lastly, be sure to check the show notes and the description below for links to resources, including relevant downloads, articles, and any upcoming training. Until we chat again, have a blessed and powerful week.